rules when becoming an entrepreneur. The first, 99.9% need not apply. It really is not a job for everybody. You have to know that you want to do this. You have to commit.
I've always been interested in leadership and management. I've taken leadership training since I was 16, I believe. It's all about this. I think I have passion towards leadership, and I believe I have those characteristics that makes someone a leader.
It was more embarrassing to my careers master that I didn't go to university than it was to me. He never spoke to me again from the day I told him I wasn't going. I've now got 36 years under my belt in Lloyds Banking Group. And from time to time, people ask, you fill sort of profile forms in. And even though I've been there 36 years, I get asked about my educational background. And bearing in mind now, I'm working in an environment where some people have got sort of MBAs and 2 degrees and all this stuff, and they've been to universities all over the world. When it comes to the educational background piece, I made a very considered decision to leave it blank. On the basis, well, 2 reasons really. One, I don't figure that my Latin A-level counts very much. And secondly, I think if people are that interested in my educational background, they'll make a massive assumption that I've missed off 2 degrees, a couple of MBAs, some international business school stuff, and come back and ask me. But to date, no one has.
I'm here because I want to grow my business. I want to hear from inspiring people. I went to something last year where someone talked about growing a business. It really got me moving, got me thinking I want to do that. And today, as we've seen, it's inspirational. It means that I can go home and tomorrow start getting on with it again.
So for the first 6 months, what's it like working for yourself? Well, I can safely say that I earned more money than I ever have. Don't forget that you have to pay tax on that money though. And I also can say that I was the poorest I've ever been. And without exaggerating, I do remember the weeks that we went to Sainsbury's and filled the trolley up with tins of macaroni and cheese because that was literally all we could afford to buy. If I carried on living with the in-laws, then maybe it wouldn't have been quite so bad, but I sort of drew a line under that. So being the poorest is really more about cash flow. When you work for yourself, you send out lots of invoices if you're lucky and you're doing lots of work, and that's fantastic. Actually convincing people to pay those invoices within 30 days, whole different story. So the other thing about the first 6 months that I would say is that I learned to be managing director, debt chaser, administrator, sales team, and you learn so much because you're taking on such a broad range of responsibilities.
Today's annual masterclass has been an absolute treat. It's something that you don't really get to see in a university. Obviously, the university's got some incredible alumni, but it's really great to see people from Birmingham and their success and their journey. It's not something that is shared enough, personally, I don't think, and it's just a fantastic event to get to know people who are achievers, who does aspire to be entrepreneurs.
Well, I want to start off with what is entrepreneurship, give it end with a few definitions, and I've got one of my own. And we wouldn't be entrepreneurs if we didn't disagree with each other, because I don't necessarily agree with some of what's been said before, but that's healthy, I hope, and you guys can judge for yourselves. In terms of an entrepreneur, I used to think, I came from an employee co-moral business which was very institutional. It was a law firm. You were told to get in at 9, you asked permission to go to the toilet, you asked permission to when you have your lunch, and you left at 5:30. So the idea of being entrepreneurial couldn't have been further from the truth. But actually, you get under the skin of what being an entrepreneur is all about. I actually think it's a way of mind. It's nothing to do with if you start your own business. Richard Branson is an entrepreneur, yes, but I know some fantastic doctors and priests who are entrepreneurs. It's how you do things. How does Gordon Road in Boston define entrepreneurship? They say it's the relentless pursuit of opportunity beyond resources currently controlled.
Bill Gates very thoughtfully said, your most unhappy customers are your greatest source of learning. And I would totally agree with that, because we have had some very pleasant and happy customers and some customers who have gone away quite disappointed. But you have to take from that and you have to learn from those mistakes. So don't be afraid of making mistakes. Just try not to make the same mistake twice. It can prove to be very expensive. It is also important to stay calm. When you actually take the situation in hand and try to make everybody happy, it works better. I'm generally a very spiritual person, so I tend to stay calm. It really helps. That's what I've found so far. if you panic and it shows, people tend to lose confidence in you, and that's the last thing you really need.
Stephen Covey is a big hero of mine. My dad, for my 16th birthday, bought me his book, 7 Habits of Highly Effective People, and I really recommend it. I should be on commission actually for him, because I recommend the book everywhere. But he's died now, but he was a great inspiration to someone who didn't really know where they were going, fell into law. It's not a book you read once. I think it's a reference book. You read it over and over again, and every time I read it, I learn new things. So I'd really recommend you read some of his work. His 5 top tips I've taken out of his book are as follows. So when you make a mistake, admit it, correct it, and learn from it immediately. Don't let the mistake harbour. It just creates paranoia and it creates uncertainty. Just say you're sorry and move on. Always treat your employees exactly as you want them to treat your best customers. And I'd extend that, not just employees, I'd say people around you. People who you want to help. You know, it's actually free to do that. It doesn't cost you anything. But if you live by that mantra, it would be amazing where the Western world would be, in my view, if that was lived up to its name. The third one, if the ladder is not leaning against the right wall, every step you take just gets you to the wrong place faster. My ladder was leaning up the legal wall, so if I'd spent another few years at Rags, I might have got to the top of a legal wall I didn't want to get to. One of the most loyal ways to manifest integrity is to be loyal to those who are not in the room, because when you do that, you'll create loyalty to those who are in the room. It's so important, and it's something I've failed at in the past, so I've learned massively from.
I've really enjoyed tonight. It's been a fantastic audience with some great questions, and actually I find it really motivating to come and talk to people who are perhaps just setting out on their journey, either in work or as an entrepreneur, so I've really, really enjoyed it.
It was a really good evening to attend. Not only did you get to hear about stories of various businesses that were at Independence Day, you also got to meet them afterwards. There was a chance for a question and answer session. I asked the questions, got answered as well, which is really appreciated.
I think the biggest thing that I've taken away from today is that you need to surround yourself with great people. I think that point has been reinforced over and over and over again tonight, and that's something that I know was important, but didn't know was paramount to the success of a business. So I think that will be the most important message that I'm going to take away tonight.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah, like I say, the speakers were inspirational, absolutely brilliant, and some of the quotes. Like I said, I jotted down one of the Bill Gates quotes because I thought it was just a really good way to sort of get me moving and get me motivated and get me. You know, I've got so many things that I've written down that I've not done yet, and it was really inspirational to sort of get me motivated to do it. So yeah, it's nice, and hopefully meet some people and shake some hands.
I think this has been a fantastic event. It's a cold Monday night, and we've had the room full of entrepreneurs and would-be entrepreneurs, and it speaks a lot about where BLF wants to be. You know, BLF's a charity that looks after young people, but it's also about connecting people across the city, and tonight has done that.